Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So this video is a continuation of my first video, which was how my parents found out about my pregnancy. This video, which is part 2, is about how certain revelations were revealed about my relationship, which resulted to me actually having to raise my daughter by myself, obviously along with my family, but being a single parent. So yeah, so if you guys haven't watched the first video, you can part 1, I suggest you watch it, then watch part 2. But yeah, so I was in a relationship with Elizabeth's father for 3 years, I would say 4 years, and I met him at uni. And in our 3rd year of our relationship, I found out that I was pregnant. And I remember when I told him about me being pregnant, he was very negative, very negative. He wasn't happy. He was like, you're pregnant? Oh, okay, like, I don't think me and you are not in the position for us to bring a child into this world. You're not working, I'm not working, like, what are we supposed to do this, how are we supposed to do this, and all those things. Almost as if like trying to instill fear in me, in making the decision to pushing me to. He never said that I should go ahead and, you know, terminate the pregnancy, but the way he was talking was indirectly, that's how I felt, pushing me to wanting to not go forward with the pregnancy. However, I made that decision to keep my pregnancy because I heard God tell me clearly that I should keep my pregnancy. I decided to keep the pregnancy, and I said to him, listen, I trust God. You know, God told me not to worry about anything, you know, so I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to take each day as it comes, knowing that God is in control. And he wasn't really too happy with the way I was seeing things and all of that. So that's when, obviously, when my parents now found out that I was pregnant, he had to now come to the house. You know, my dad wants to see him and discuss with him about what's his plan for me and his child. So yeah, so he came over, sat down, he expressed, yeah, you know, he wants to marry me and all of that. Yeah, so then after that, you know, my dad was like, okay, so what are you going to do? Obviously you're not working, you're gonna look for a job and all of this. And he was like, yeah, you know, that's what he's going to do and all of that. So he so that was left at that, in terms of, not left in the sense that we just to know where his head was, you know. But then after that meeting we had with my parents, he started to distance himself. So like, he just wouldn't check on me as he's supposed to, make sure that I'm eating properly, or I'm okay, the baby's okay, and you know, and stuff like that. And there were definitely red flags, you know, in terms of, like, for example, when he followed me to a scan, and my first scan, and you know, you get a picture. So when I got a picture of, you know, my daughter in my stomach, and I was like, oh, he should keep one. He was like, no, you should keep it. Like, can you imagine? And I don't know, like, I don't know why I was just so naive and so like gullible, like, just. But yeah, you learn. Yeah, boy, I learned a lesson, boy. But yeah, so anyway, so after that he just became very distant. He just wasn't being there for me the way he was supposed to be there for me, especially the fact that I'm carrying both of our child, you know. So so then during that time I did get a job. I got 2 jobs, and it's all because of God. And that's another testimony, and that testimony is that I prayed to God, knowing that I'm 6 months pregnant. Like, nobody would really want to hire a pregnant woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, who would want to do that? Because that's like, she wouldn't be able to work long hours, you know. She might not be able to do, you know, hard tasks and all those things, and she might have to leave early, start late, all those things. But God's so good, I got a job at the estate agency, which my friend Folake, one of my good friends, I have so many good friends, guys, one of our good friends Folake, she sent me the job ad, and I got the job, you know, went to interview and I got it. And then I got a second job, which was through me being at the estate agency, which the person I worked there, his wife was a lawyer, and he knew Folake as well, and Folake also like put my name forward for that, and then that's how I ended up having 2 jobs. So, and I told God, I was like, I would rather want to work 1 day a week, weekend, and look what God did. So the estate agency was literally every Saturday. Oh my, like, guys, don't underestimate God. Like, oh, the things that God can do exceedingly abundantly, more than we can ask or imagine. I'm telling you that. But yeah, so got my 2 jobs. So I'm working now, and working as a personal assistant for a lawyer. And then he just wasn't around. He just wasn't doing his duty, like what he's supposed to be doing. You know, he owed me duty of care. Do you know what I mean? He actually did. So I remember when I was coming home, and I was so upset because he just wasn't picking up my calls. He wasn't calling me regularly. And I remember when I called him, and he said to me, and I said to him, I'm not hearing from you as I should. Like, you're supposed to be calling me to check up on me, to see how I am, how the baby is, and you're not doing that. And he was like, oh, you know, even though you're out of sight, you're not out of mind, something stupid like that, some nonentity answer, I don't understand. But yeah, that's what he said. And I was like, okay. And me, I don't want to argue, I'm pregnant, I need to make sure that everything around me is, you know, calm. I'm calm, do you know what I mean? I don't want to like be angry and that affects my born child. Now, God forbid. So I remember when I came home, and I was really upset because he just wasn't doing this. It's like nowhere to be found. Like, it will go for a week, I wouldn't hear from this guy, you know. And so I told my parents didn't like the fact that I was crying. So my mum, she was like, you know where the sister lives? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she was like, we are going there. And I was like, okay, mum, we're going there. She was like, yes, we're going there because we need answers. Like, that's where he was staying. He was staying with his sister. So these times we all jumped in the car, me, my mum and my dad, and we just drove to the house. Now, my dad said, listen, before we go, let's expect the worst, okay? And I said, okay, Dad. But in my mind I was thinking, nah, everything's gonna be fine, you know. So we got there now. And when I got to the house, the woman was looking at me like, who are you? And I have been to the sister house when the husband is there. So I only know the husband, but I haven't seen the sister. That was a red flag. Like, how can I not have met his sister for so many years? Yeah, that was a bad decision. That was a bad mistake on my part, because he always came up with excuses. Anyway, he then so the woman was looking at me like I don't know you. And I was like, yeah, I'm Deborah's, you know, girlfriend. And so we all sat down, and then, you know, they greeted one another. And then my dad was like, we're here because we found out my daughter is 5 months pregnant for your brother. So she was like, oh, not again. Guys, when I heard not again, I was like, what is going on? I thought it felt like Nollywood. Not even gonna lie, like it actually felt like Nollywood. For those of you who don't know, Nollywood is an African channel that does African movies. Yeah, so I thought I was in Hollywood, I'm not gonna lie. So obviously we all stunned. I was like, what is she talking about? That's how she just started to unravel things. So here it is, guys. So I basically found out that he was, this is how she started. She was like, my brother, he is not an alcoholic, he is not a smoker, but his weakness is women. I was like, wow. And then she proceeded to say he has 4 4 kids by 3 different women. Yep. Wow. Yeah, exactly, guys. I know some of you are like, what? Yeah. And some of you are thinking, how did I not know? Guys, I had no idea. He kept that like under wraps. I don't know how somebody can live with that and like deceive the person that they're with. Like, I had every right to know, like, from the time that I met with you, like, you were interested in me and we were talking, that was the time you should have mentioned those things and let me make the decision, or whether I want to carry on the relationship or whether I want to stay. Like, those things you need to be sharing. You can't be hiding them things, you know. Like, so when she said that, like, my heart actually sank, because he was like my first ever proper boyfriend I ever had, hoping to have married. Like, he met my family, you know, although my dad, he wasn't too keen on him, you know. But in saying that, my dad was like, we don't know this guy. My parents were like, we don't know this guy, we'll just give him the benefit of the doubt. We didn't know that he will keep such a drastic, you know, secret. You know, I really let him in, and he was actually my first, you know. So for him to do that, it hurt. It really did, because I loved the guy, I did, and I thought that we had a future together, but that wasn't the case. And that brings me to the point of going forward, you know, in terms of being, you know, wanting to be in a relationship, you have to seek God first and not let your emotions get the best of you, you know, because sometimes the emotions you have can blur certain things, and then when, you know, sex is involved, that even makes it more blurry. And I feel like that's what happened to me in my situation, and I want to be honest with you guys, so, you know, you guys can also relate and, you know, understand what, you know, the situation as well. So like, so when I did find out about that, it took me aback, and I was like, wow, God, like, really? Like, oh my gosh. Like, I was definitely shocked. And then my mum on the other side, like, I laugh about the situation now, like, I'm smiling because I'm over it. I've forgiven him, I've moved past the situation. And in order for God to take me where he wants to take me and my daughter, the past has to be the past. And that's what I'm able to smile, and I'm able to, you know, share my experience, because I don't want anybody who might be in a relationship and, you know, you see red flags. I don't want you guys to fall in the same I want you guys to what happened to me happen to you, in the sense of being in a deceitful relationship, you know. So my mum on the other hand, she was, when the woman said that, my mum on the other hand, she was like, yeah, like, she was like, oh, like, she was doing Nollywood movements, like, she actually was, like, ooh, ooh. Like, yeah, my mum was really giving it. Yeah, she really was. And yeah, so at that moment it wasn't funny, but now thinking about it, it was actually funny. But and my dad, because he told us to expect the worst, he was like, wow, okay. And guess what, guys, the sister's husband had the audacity to say to me that, oh, don't you go to church? How can you let this happen to you? No, like, I had to, you know, there was where you're just like, really, like, yeah, I was ready to, you know, like, really give it to him. But my dad was like, you know when your dad gives you the look like, settle, do you know what I mean? Don't respond to that. So I had to just not respond to that and just keep calm. Anyway, cut the story short, that's what we found out about the guy. So Elizabeth's father. So after that day, never heard from him. And he lives with his sister, yeah, and I'm sure that guy was upstairs. He wasn't there when we came, but I'm sure he was upstairs. I really should have went up there and check if he was there. But obviously he would have known what had happened, because and then he obviously, I didn't hear from him for a week. Then a week later, he now called me and he said he wants to meet up with me and talk. And I was like, Mum, I don't really want to have a conversation with this guy, because I don't know what he's gonna say. And my parents were like, no, you should see what he has to say. So I was like, okay. So I went to meet him in a coffee shop, and he admitted to what his sister said. The only difference, he said, he was like, I only have 3 children with 3 different women. As if that is any better. It is not any better, is it? Like, actually, is it any better? Like, sometimes, like, yeah, it's not even better, is it? So I was like, he was like, oh, the reason I didn't tell you is because I didn't want to lose you. See, like, the rubbish this guy was chatting, guys. I was just looking at him like, you really need help. Number one, you've already lost me. So at the end of the day, you lost both ways. And then on top of that, who are you to make the decision for me on whether I should stay, in terms of because you kept a secret from me, like, for you to make that decision for me. Like, you should tell me and then allow me to make the decision. If I wanted to stay on, I would have actually not stayed, to be honest, guys. I have to be truthful, I actually wouldn't have. Told my friends, so at the coffee shop I also told my friends that they should keep an eye on me and him while he decides to give me, you know, a reason for his behavior. So my friends were doing like Inspector Gadget, like they were lurking, you know, looking, like, just to make sure everything is okay. And I also had them on loudspeaker as well. He didn't know, but I had them on loudspeaker so they can hear all the rubbish that he was chatting. So it was so funny. Looking back, it was so funny, like, you know, Leah and Jasmine doing that. Like, they just, yeah, they're like, it was too good. Like, it's too funny, actually. But yeah, they were amazing because they were, you know, they were there. And yeah, so once and then after that, I told my friends, I told all my friends, and they were very they were taken aback of everything that I was telling them, of everything that had happened, that unraveled, and they were shocked, but they were there for me. They prayed for me. Anything that I was, you know, scared about, anything that concerned me, I'd let them know, and we will pray in agreement. So I'm just thankful for, you know, God blessing me with wonderful friends, you know, who are the godparents to my Elizabeth. So yeah, like, can you imagine, like, the guy, he was chatting so much rubbish, like utter rubbish. It even got to a point like he actually tried to get on his knee, and I was like, no, you don't need to go on your knee, that doesn't mean anything. And then he started talking about how he left his sister's house because he was upset for the fact that she told me, and he was upset with me. I was like, no, you would not flip the script. No, you can't do that. If you watch Marvin Kids, there was this.
No. You will not flip the script and make this
seed, yeah. But yeah, I was thinking, you will not make me feel bad for the actions that you made, which has resulted in this situation. Like, this is the consequence of you making a bad decision. So don't blame me, you know. And whatever is done in the dark will be exposed in the light. Like, whatever's done in the dark will be exposed in the light. And that's exactly what's happened to you. And now you feel naked, innit? You feel really naked. And you don't know what to do. So you now want to be flipping script. Forget that one. Don't even try that. I told him. I was like, don't try to make me feel bad. And he started talking about, oh yeah, I was homeless, had nowhere to stay, and this and the other. So yeah, after we had that conversation in the coffee shop, you know, he was more interested. He wasn't even concerned of how well she was doing in my stomach. He was more concerned of getting back with me, you know. And I was like, this guy's not serious. And I'm not, you know, marrying somebody just because I'm carrying a baby, especially if they're showing signs of not caring. So I should subject myself to somebody who clearly doesn't care about me or his child. Like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. People can talk, they can say anything they want to say, but my happiness is what is my happiness. That's what matters. And God's already shown me the red flags. Now this is a big red flag, so I am not staying. So I was like, people can talk, people can say what they want to say. I know I've made my peace with God. God has forgiven me, and I know the journey he's going to take me and my daughter on is going to be a great one. So let people talk. I didn't really care, to be honest. So so after that, I just did not hear from him. He actually ghosted. Like, he actually ghosted. So it's not like I'm restricting him from seeing his daughter. I will never ever do that, because at the end of the day, he's the father, you know, of Elizabeth, and there will be a day where she would want to know what happened, and I don't want to give him a reason for him to turn around and tell her, I did try to reach out, but your mum said no. And to be honest, guys, he has not reached out at all. Even when even after the pregnancy, and I've had her, a week later, he called me on some random number, and he was like, how are you, and how's the pregnancy? I was like, I've had the baby. He was like, he was like, oh, is it? Oh, like all this fake dramatic, you know, expression of as if he cared, you know. And then a week after that, he sent her a bunch of clothes, and then I never heard from him. So it's been a year and a few months that I've not heard from him at all. At all. And to be honest, guys, all I do is I feel for my daughter, you know, for her to have, you know, a father who doesn't want anything to do with her. He doesn't even know, you know, if she's okay or anything like that. But at the end of the day, God has, you know, surrounded my daughter with so much love. You know, she has great godparents, great family, you know, and she has me as well. And the love that surrounds her, like, she would not even feel like she's missing out on anything. And I will make sure of that she feels like, oh, because her father's not there, that there's like, she's missing something. Never that. And because she has God, ultimately, like it says in his word that he is a father to the fatherless. So at the end of the day, I don't control his actions, and if he feels like he doesn't want to be part of her, fine. But if he does come back, like come back in the sense of he wants to see her, I would let him see her. Like, I would do my part. I will be very mature, you know, about the situation, and very humble, and do what I feel is right, and which is I would never stop my daughter from, you know, seeing her father. Never that. But he did make that decision not to be. So he, even for a first birthday, no phone call, nothing. Like, he's actually ghosted, anything. So, but I'm just happy that I'm at this point where, despite things not going my way, how I would like it to go, you know, I see it as God saving me, you know, from something that could have been worse. And I know that God has a greater plan for me and my daughter. So if you know, if your situation is similar to mine, don't see yourself as, don't be too hard on yourself, because it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody, because I never thought this would ever happen to me, ever, and it did. So no one is immune to it, you know. But in going forward, it's just about being wise. And to be honest, I don't feel like I was wise about the situation. You know, my parents wasn't too fond of him. My friends also, you know, they had their reservations as well, which I listened to. I did, but I didn't act on it as I should have, you know. But I do believe that what I'm going through is to definitely bless somebody, and for the fact that I can come out of this, you know, very jovial, very joyous, it's because of God. It's not because of me, because it's only God's strength that has brought me, you know, that makes me this happy, you know. And it's because I know that God is in control. And because if you think about it, to be honest, I know that if I didn't have God, I would probably hollow in depression and all those things. I really would have. But because I know that what Satan meant for bad, God meant it for good. And it just reminds me of the story of Job, you know, how you know Satan really wanted to say if I take all these things that you've blessed Job with, he would actually wouldn't serve you anymore. And you know, God was like, okay, you know, but don't kill him, sort of thing. So Job went through the most unimaginable thing that you could go through, but yet he did have his times where he was, you know, questioning, almost questioning God and saying why. But at the end, because of, you know, Job was upright and he was a good servant, so he had that relationship with God, and because he maintained his faith, God saw him through, and God even blessed him, you know, blessed him 10 times more. So that's why I look at, I read that story and know that, you know, everything will work together for our good. So no matter what, whether you be a single parent, whatever you're going through, you know, in life, you know, I just want you guys to know that God is ultimately in control. And yeah, so that's what happened, guys. That's what happened. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope most importantly it blessed you guys, and it is an encouragement to you guys, and just to give you guys, just to let you guys in a bit, just to know my story and how I dealt with it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. And please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And if any of you guys have any questions or videos that you want me to do, please feel free to put a comment in the comment section, and I will do my best to do a video on whatever you guys suggest. And thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, bye.